Welcome to the Bringing Hope Home podcast. We're Bryce and Colette Schaefer, pastors, teachers, and madly in love empty nesters. We invite you into our home as we candidly share faith-filled, practical ways to build a strong and lasting marriage. Hey there, welcome back to Bringing Hope Home. We are your hosts, Bryce and Colette, and we're excited to bring you another episode as we're talking about longevity this month.
Right. It's been exciting. We had guest speakers at the beginning of the month. Last week we talked about, getting together and being consistent as a couple. We don't want to be wishy-washy and always guessing where the other person is going to land on a situation or an issue. Mm-hmm. And so this week, again, we're going to continue that longevity kind of theme, but look at how to compromise. Because compromise is big in a relationship. If you can't do that, it's kind of 101 for a marriage for sure.
Everything is built on compromise.
Right, because we all have two different mindsets. We have two different upbringings. We have two different viewpoints. And we're also male, female. And because of those issues wasn't the right word, but you got to be able to really focus in and kind of work with each other. God made you a team for a reason. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean one person always gets their way.
And really, lack of compromise kind of shows the maturity of a marriage, immaturity, I should say, if you don't have any compromise,
Right. Well, to me, it starts off with then you don't respect or love the other person. You don't value what they're bringing to the table of the marriage. Mm-hmm. If you're not going to compromise. So this is something that you need to get straight right away in your relationship or learn to grow in it as you go along, for sure. Mm-hmm. And when you see compromise, you're going to see a healthier marriage and one that's on the uphill or uptick to success.
Yeah, that's right.
So, compromise just in general is just giving up something for the betterment of the whole. For you, for your family, and that's good. Another way to say it is find the middle ground, and there's lots of areas to do that in. We talk about household tasks. It isn't just so structured as it was back in the 40s and 50s, and what our grandparents or parents used to do. This is today, and we need all hands on deck. So household tasks are one of them. Discipline of children. You're going to have two different upbringings, so two different viewpoints on that, and that's somewhere to compromise. Vacations. Oh, that's a big one. You always want to be relaxed and,
just
sit. Me, I like to go.
You have a hard time sitting and relaxing.
Which I probably need a little bit more, so I do need to try to decompress.
That's what you're supposed to do on vacation. You're supposed to just sit.
But I like to go. Let's go play golf. Let's go see things. But anyway, so that's what we do. We got to compromise those. Holiday traditions. Now that's a big one. Sometimes, we got to do it my way or what we've always done in my family. And then there's pressure from in-laws or your parents. And that's when you got to become your own family a little bit, for sure. Yeah. TV watching. That's a big one. I love sports. Love watching that. You love the music ones and, more of those kind of shows. And so
you like to flip. Anybody else out there like to flip?
Comment in on that one.
How many shows?
I can do two or three at one time.
Oh, even more.
Really?
I'd say we have about 4 shows going on at a time.
Well, especially if it's sports, it's pretty easy.
So good thing I compromise and don't really care.
Oh, that's how you compromise. Well, that's all right. But I think it's good to compromise on those things for sure. Time together. What do you like to do? Do you like going for walks? Maybe someone doesn't. Maybe they like playing games. So those are great places to learn to compromise. And as you do that in those kind of areas and in some non-stressful situations, it'll be, get you ready for those stressful ones.
That it shows the respect for your spouse, because maybe, say I love to go for walks, but you really don't. You're still showing your love for me and respect for me by compromising something that you maybe not really want to do, but you're going to do it because I enjoy it and you want to be with me, and so you compromise your time. And
Amen. And then you find value in that, for sure. Now, there are things, just before we go any farther, things not to compromise.
Right.
One thing that we always say, we don't ever compromise the Word of God and what that says. If that says it, that settles it, so be it. And if I'm disagreeing with it or choosing a different path, then we can hold each other accountable and say, nope, that's not what the Word says to do. That's not what Jesus, and we're disciples, followers of Him. This is how we want to act or to choose to do something. So that's one place. If you're feeling really, really uncomfortable, if it's something in your past is stopping you from moving forward in a compromising situation that you're feeling, and the other one might not feel it, that would be a time to really then hone in on your communication skills and dive a little bit deeper into why, and then express why. So, say, I don't feel that like this is something I can do or be a part of, or something along those lines. So there are a few places to not compromise your value system, your belief system, because there's slippery slopes. The Bible shares that. King Solomon started compromising his value system, and he lost kind of his kingdom at the end because of it. Jesus in the book of Revelations talks about the lukewarm church. Why was it lukewarm? They had compromised their beliefs and values.
And it's so easy now to compromise your beliefs. Everything is just so skewed just a little bit. It sounds okay.
And that won't hurt anything.
Yeah, that won't hurt anything. Well, what if I just, all those little tiny things, those are little compromises that pretty soon can get you off the mark big time. I like the illustration that you used before. If you're just off, a little tick, it might not seem much at the beginning if you just make this little adjustment,
Yeah, that wasn't hard.
Yeah.
Step back in line or figure things out again.
But if you keep on that
Hold
trajectory,
yourself accountable. Yeah.
Then the further apart it gets as you go.
Yeah, and the more time it'll take to recorrect.
And so just always, bringing back, no, I'm not going to compromise on what is, those foundational things.
For sure. When we think about compromise and finding common ground, it goes back to the two words that we've always talked about, love and respect. And we've talked about respect already, but it is love as well. If I don't want to go on a walk, but you do, and I choose to go on that walk, I am showing a love language to you and choosing something that you like rather than me, putting more value in you than me. And boy, that goes a long way in a marriage for sure. I've always said too, and we've said in our relationship, if both of us don't win, none of us win. It's not about coming out on top and number one or getting my way or the highway. Because if that happens, one is a loser, and when you reunited as a couple, you became one. So if you both don't win, you don't win. And if one wins, you both win. And that's fun, to learn. And we'll talk about that next week, that both winning even though one won. So yeah, that's important in there as well. So you might be wondering now, how do you compromise? So let's talk about a few ways to do that if you need to learn to do that or grow in this area, for sure. So number one, identify needs versus wants. That's really important. Identify your feelings. I think that's important to have some clarity of why you need to compromise. Too many of us just clam up and say just because, or you let your emotions overtake a situation, and you're expressing something to your spouse, and really you didn't even know why. And so now again, there's no clarity on an issue. So take a little bit of a breather, maybe some time, but come back to it and define some of these issues that you're seeing that need to be addressed. For sure.
And in addressing these too, it's not just a couple. You know, when you get married, you have an extended family.
True.
And so, you know, we have 3 adult married children. And so now we have 3 in-laws who also have families and things. And so the compromise also goes beyond you as a couple. So now, you know, we're here, established marriage and everything. We have our kids, but now we're having to compromise our family time, our traditions, you know. So just a note for those that are our age, you know, empty nested and maybe have adult children who are having families of their own. We have to learn again to compromise, and okay, our family looks different. The dynamics are different, and that's okay because we've grown past what it was, you know, just us and our 3 little kids. We have more to consider. So to always be, you know, considerate to your children and help them,
for sure.
You know, not put the pressure on, well, you have to be at our house for this and you have to be here, you know.
Right. Again, that would be vaulting yourself and your family above their other family that they have to deal with.
And it all gets sticky. But...
Yeah, and that's not fun. And I think a good place to learn, you know, about compromise is also with your kids when they're younger. They need to learn to compromise if there's more than one child in the house. TV programs, again, they need to learn these skills as well. So it's not just, about marriage. It goes to almost every area of your life. And then the next thing, once you've clarified and defined some things, then listen. And then, you know, we've talked about mirroring before. Mirror the other one's point of view.
Active listening.
You know, active listening is key, because if I know you hear me correctly, what I say and what I feel, now we can have a foundation to build from, for sure. So that's kind of, you know, step number 2. You know, and then number 3 is getting to the compromise, which is find common ground. Where can you both agree? And that's key. And where maybe you can agree to disagree. But as a family, you know, especially when it's with kids, because they'll pit each other, you know, against you, you know, for their own benefit, you know, where can you come and line up together and be united, and let others see your unitedness? You know, there have been times in our marriage where we're both like, that's not how I would have done that, but that's the way we're going right now. And we'll discuss this later and recorrect at a different time. That's okay. You know, we've heard it before, you know, what did your mom say? Well, she said it first. That's what we're going to go with. Even if I would have picked something else for the kids or whatever the situation may be, you know, find that common ground and then start with that unity, because then you can start building from there. And then the next one, you know, in this figuring how to compromise, be flexible. You know, not everything is cookie cutter. Not everything falls into the same pattern every situation. Now, there are guidelines in every situation, and, you know, you might have talked about how you're going to deal with your in-laws or you know, how you're going to deal with the traditions or holidays or whatever. But then be okay with some flexibility in there.
You know, I want to bring out too personality types, because if you have one, you know, spouse that is more the people pleaser and always wants to bend and please, make sure that you're looking out for them as well, because they might not, you know, oh, it's okay. Yeah, we can do it that way. Maybe take inventory. If you've always done it your way. Maybe it's time to say, no, you know what, this time I want to do it, you know.
Preferring the other.
Prefer the other person.
What an idea.
Even if they're saying it's okay and everything, look out for those that are the people pleasers.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. There are those out there, you know, and don't speak up sometimes for what they want. The last kind of thing is follow through. You know, decide, behind closed doors how you're going to handle your kids or whatever, and then come out and do something different. Now you've just set a landmine to just implode the whole situation that you were trying to build up and find unity and common ground with. So, follow through with each other. I'm going to be there for you on Saturday afternoon, even though I'm busy and have other things going on. That's important to you. I'm going to be there. And don't override that situation. Very important. In the last resort, seek some support outside of you two. There are people out there, pastors like us, other friends, relatives that can help you find common ground and be a support system for you.
That's right. And if this has, been a problem, like you said, seek support. And by the way, we want to just plug that we do offer those, that as a...
Yeah, we're coaches, marriage coaches.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
So, you can check out our coaching program.
It's not counseling.
It's not counseling.
I say that, and I mean that, because a lot of people get hung up on the word counseling.
Well, and the difference too, counselors talk about a lot from the past. You kind of stay there, you talk about all of that, and maybe we might hit on that to see where we've lost grounding. But coaching is going to move you forward. What are the tools that you need to propel you forward and for good success?
Yeah, I like that much better.
Yeah. So
not dwell on the past.
Right. And so we do have an awesome kind of structure program that we will take you through. It's a 12-week program. So if you're interested in that, we'll have a link down below that you can get all the details and find out what that's about. But we would love to work one-on-one with you.
Oh, for sure.
So
yeah. Well, we're so glad you got to join us today. And, we're about, making an impact in your home and making some good success and headway. So I hope today, learning a little bit more about good compromise, that's what you're going to do in your family and in your relationship together. So, as we like to say, remember to bring hope home to your life today.
If you're listening on the Apple Podcast app, give us a 5-star rating and drop a review. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a follow. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. See you next week.